Thanks, Senator Coons. First of all, my thanks to Senator Schumer and Senator Feinstein for their leadership. Make no mistake, we are 100% unified. If it sounds like we're repeating each other's points, it's not due to lack of originality. It's a sign of our unity and our determination to continue this fight. Now, I listened to my Republican colleagues during the meeting today. Their case for moving Judge Barrett forward was to attack Democrats. It was full of bile and anger and grievance against Democrats. They are running away from the issues, from the effect of this nomination to take away rights to health care for millions of Americans, rights to gun violence prevention, rights to vote, rights to safety in the workplace. And in fact, millions of Americans with pre-existing conditions will be at risk because of this nomination if it is confirmed. But watching them in that committee room were real people on posters that we brought into that hearing room. Real people whose lives may be decimated by rulings on the ACA to strike it down. Real women who will lose control over when and whether they have children, because this nominee has said, in effect, the legacy of Roe v. Wade is barbaric. She has aligned herself with groups that would criminalize in vitro fertilization. She has shown by her legal positions that she would overturn Roe v. Wade, and in fact, she has passed the Trump test. He called it a strong test. Strike down the ACA, overturn Roe v. Wade. That's the reason that she wouldn't answer our questions. She's already answered those questions for the vetting and screening right-wing groups that have given her the pass. Almost half a century ago, in the building across the street, Justice Blackmun wrote the opinion in Roe v. Wade. I clerked for him shortly after he did it. And we thought then that this issue was solved, that privacy was guaranteed. And yet today, we are still fighting the issue that protects women's rights. We owe it to them, we owe it to all Americans to keep up this fight, because we can't go back to the time when abortion was banned, when contraception was criminalized. We need to move forward. We are determined to do it. I've heard from those Americans who have been watching, the Americans that we brought into the hearing room, the Americans who are scared and angry. I've been listening to people across Connecticut who feel fundamental rights may be gone. Our Republican colleagues have pushed this nomination through in a raw exercise of power. They're doing it because they can. The American people can do what they can on November 3rd. We're not done. We're going to continue to fight this nomination. We will have votes ahead, and I hope my colleagues will be held accountable for disregarding the will of the American people who want their voice heard, so that the next president and the next Senate will choose the next justice. I'm now happy to yield to my great colleague from Hawaii, Senator Hirono.
Thank you. I am very committed to joining my colleagues in utter protest of what is happening with this nominee. These are not normal times. It's not normal times when we ask Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans, why are your priorities so screwed up that in the middle of a pandemic, we can't work on a COVID bill that actually helps people and you're pushing through this nominee? It's not normal when that question becomes a rhetorical question, but here we are. So we all know that Amy Barrett presents a clear and present danger to the Affordable Care Act. Come November 10th, when the Republicans get their way, she will be sitting there in the court to hear this case. She's already let it be known that she thinks Chief Justice Roberts made a mistake when he upheld the law, which means that if she had been sitting in that court, she would have struck down the Affordable Care Act then. She is a clear and present danger to so many of the rights that Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know what? It wasn't long ago when we lost her. Have we forgotten all the things that she fought for? Equal rights for women, access to affordable care, LGBTQ rights, all the rights that Ruth Bader Ginsburg fought for, and that she actually listened to the people who would be impacted by the court's decisions. So I want to focus on one of these rights, LGBTQ rights. One of my colleagues mentioned Obergefell. 2 Supreme Court justices have already signaled, this is what they do, they signal, why don't we revisit Obergefell? Because there's no constitutional basis for same-sex marriage. This would be Justices Alito and Thomas. They're really good at signaling what they would like to have a chance to overturn. Now, Judge Barrett aligns herself with Justice Scalia, who wrote all of the major decisions against gay rights, including the last one was Obergefell. So you combine the fact that Judge Barrett aligns herself with the right wing, conservative wing of the Supreme Court. She is very much in line with her mentor, Justice Scalia. Combine that with her outlier view of precedent, where she says it is up to every justice to decide for herself what the Constitution requires, and if precedent does not align with that, down goes the president. That is why Roe v. Wade is at risk. That is why Obergefell is at risk. That is why so many of the rights and protections that Ruth Bader Ginsburg spent her whole time on the Supreme Court fighting for are at risk. And that is why I stand here with my colleagues in protest of this nominee. And guess what? There are already 40 million people who have voted. They know what's at stake. They are listening. The Republicans hope that people are not paying attention, but they are. I now want to turn to my good friend, Cory Booker.
I stand with my colleagues in a firm commitment to some of the best of American values and tactics. I stand with my colleagues with a commitment to non-cooperation with that which is wrong and boycott of that which is unacceptable. We stand resolute and in lockstep with tens of millions of Americans of all backgrounds, all persuasions, all political parties, in the firm belief that what Senate Republicans are doing right now is wrong. They are violating processes, they are violating rules, they are violating conscience, and they are violating their own words. It is a difficult thing to witness such bitter violence against your own words. But I stand also with my colleagues in this resolute, firm belief that we will continue the fight. Even though we stand at a point where, in the midst of a pandemic, we do almost literally are walking through the valley of the shadow of death. At a time that our country needs the best of us, we have fallen into a rank partisanship that is failing us. Instead of coming together to claim the high ground of action on the crisis, we are descending into the low ground and quicksand of a power grab that will go down in history as one of the darker moments of this institution. And so today I stand with my colleagues and I lean upon the truth of our history that has not been absent of wrongs from this institution to that one. I stand with them in an understanding that in this great nation, America has shown an extraordinary alchemy, the ability to turn dark, dark days, dark, dark nights into new days of hope, the ability to turn wretched wrongs into pathways of redemption, the ability to take from tragic defeat new possibilities for greater victories. And so today I join with my colleagues in a great tradition of non-cooperation and boycott of these proceedings. But I also join with them arm in arm like so many of our ancestors did and say resolutely, in the words of those whose sacrifices ensured my very presence here, we say, we shall overcome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
We have time for questions. Senator Schumer.